We lost this race in 2021.
With all due respect and admiration to the Democratic leadership, things really, truly need to change.
The Harris campaign, it sounds like, just missed it.
I do fault the Biden White House for a complete failure. It's really extraordinary what's happened in this country. The economic...
What did surprise you the most when you were there on the ground in Pennsylvania? You talk about the disconnect between the sort of like celebrity-fueled campaign and what you were seeing when you're knocking on these doors.
Well, first of all, the severity of the hardship for working people in the United States these days, it was really eye-opening. I report about immigration, so I have been on the ground with working people quite a bit in my career, but it wasn't just the price of groceries. It wasn't just, it's the whole structure of work. People are doing contract work. They're working night shifts, day shifts. And also the way that people are communicating now, very often the only source of information that people had in Allentown was through their mobile phones. They don't have time to watch television. It was just a tremendous gap of communication. But one of the things that I learned from this is that the lived experience of a Puerto Rican American citizen voter in Allentown, Pennsylvania, has very little in common with the lived experience of a Mexican-American voter who lives in Hidalgo, Texas, right by the border, right when people were coming across the border, when there was kind of chaos at the border, from the lived experience of a Cuban-American who lives in South Florida. These experiences, there's very little in common, and the lived experience of a Latino in Las Vegas, Nevada.
That's part of the problem.
Also,
people they put all Latinos together, but they're very diverse.
This is very diverse,
Yeah,
and so that would be the first point that I would make.
So the Harris campaign, it sounds like, just missed it. I mean, even the Biden campaign leading up to it, they had to be dragged in a way to address the reality that people were feeling extreme economic hardship.
We lost this race in 2021 when Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema did not support Build Back Better. That was our economic populist plan. It was universal childcare, universal pre-K, affordable housing, jobs, 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 something to help people tangibly. Inflation happened, prices went up, they never came back down. Republicans were moving as a well-oiled machine. It's the Democrats' fault. Democrats, Democrats, Democrats. We never had a response. We never recovered. Biden, in my opinion, should have decided in 2022 not to run for re-election. We needed an open primary.
Reading your article, it also seemed like you adjusted your message after meeting a bunch of people. Right. You were like, these people are having trouble with dental insurance. These people can't afford enough food. These people are struggling with this. We are told to miss this entire block of housing because we don't have a message for them. And I think that with all due respect and admiration to the Democratic leadership, things really, truly need to change. And I'm going to say that right up front. We absolutely lost the messaging war. If people in America did not know that the Democrats were the party that wanted to help them, we blew it. If they didn't know that we were the party that would support unions, we made a mistake. If they didn't know that paid family leave was in Build Back Better and would have been part of Harris's campaign,
you had the rap sheet of the policies. I mean, was that responsive to what people were experiencing?
It was, and it was just that I do fault not the Biden campaign, but the Biden White House for a complete failure of communication of what they were doing.
America's failing public education system has also taken a huge financial hit with billions of dollars to educate the illegal migrant children who have crossed into our country over the past 4 years. Tell us how this influx of migrant children has had a detrimental effect to classrooms really across the country.
You know, it's hard to believe that school leaders would oppose this effort of keeping these families together as their families are repatriated to their home countries, because the influx of migrants has put an unmanageable strain on our education system. As a former school board member, I can tell you our system is already strained of funds meeting the needs of students who are coming in with challenges, like who do not speak English as their first language, who are behind academically. And the pandemic only exacerbated those issues. And we're really putting the onus on our teachers to manage students coming in new all the time, month after month, new students, and having to manage their differing academic abilities. And we really don't have the funds to do it. It's affecting the ability to serve the needs of American students.
What are some of the stats across the country when it comes to our failing education system?
Well, unfortunately, they are abysmal. As you know, the NAEP scores recently came out that showed only about a third of our 4th and 8th grade students are reading on grade level. And we witnessed the largest drop in math scores in those 2 grade levels in recorded history. Now, we are really falling behind when it comes to the global competition of academic performance, and this is not helping matters at all. You look at a place like Baltimore, where 40% of the high schools have exactly 0 students who are performing on grade level, who can read proficiently according to the NAEP and according to scores. And then states like Massachusetts that are actually removing their high school exam. So we don't even know how those students are going to perform.
Yeah.
But I've got to say that it is strange to watch an almost united public, left and right, use this tragedy to go off on big business and cold-hearted insurance companies, when a majority of Americans just elected a billionaire backed by the world's richest billionaire, who he's now appointed along with a near billionaire to run the country and slash the budget, plus a cabinet full of a half a dozen other billionaires whose collective goal is to slash spending on everything the government does for ordinary Americans and cut taxes on billionaires and big businesses, aka themselves. Now, if there is one thing that the left and the right can agree on, it's that this system in America does not work for regular people. But there are so many contradictions when it comes to what Americans want to actually do about it. For example, Americans frequently say they want their government to be run like a business. It's one of the most common things that you hear on the campaign trail. And at least nominally, if you ask people who voted for Trump why they did it, they will say it's because he's a businessman, or that they had more money when he was president. And they think that he will help the economy and make eggs and other things cost less. Not to mention the fact that the policies Trump voters heavily favor, mass deportation, tariffs, will also make everything cost more and likely create an economic disaster for the U.S.